As if he read her thoughts, the man said quickly, "I can assure you I mean no disrespect." Tuppence believed him. Although she disliked him and distrusted him instinctively, she was inclined to acquit him of the particular motive which she had at first attributed to him. She looked him up and down. He was a big man, clean-shaven, with a heavy jowl. His eyes were small and cunning, and shifted their glance under her direct gaze. "Well, what is it?" she asked. The man smiled. "I happened to overhear part of your conversation with the young gentleman in Lyons." "Well, what of it?" "Nothing, except that I think I may be of some use to you." Another inference forced itself into Tumpence's mind. "You followed me here." "I took that liberty. And in what way do you think you could be of use to me?" The man took a card from his pocket and handed it to her with a bow. Tuppence took it and scrutinized it carefully. It bore the inscription, "Mr. Edward Whittington." Below the name were the words, "Estonia Glasswork Co." and the address of a city office. Mr. Whittington spoke again. If you will call upon me tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, I will lay the details of my proposition before you." "At 11 o'clock, said Tuppence doubtfully. "At 11 o'clock. Tuppence made up her mind. "Very well, I'll be there." "Thank you. Good evening." He raised his hat with a flourish and walked away. Tuppence remained for some minutes gazing after him. Then she gave a curious movement of her shoulders, rather as a terrier shakes himself. "The adventures have begun," she murmured to herself. "What does he want me to do, I wonder? There's something about you, Mr. Whittington, that I don't like at all. But, on the other hand, I'm not the least bit afraid of you. And as I've said before, and shall doubtless say again, little Tuppence can look after herself, thank you." And with a short, sharp nod of her head, she walked briskly onward. As a result of further meditations, however, she turned aside from the direct route and entered a post office. There she pondered for some moments, a telegraph form in her hand. The thought of a possible 5 shillings spent unnecessarily spurred her to action, and she decided to risk the waste of 9 pence. Disdaining the spiky pen and thick black treacle which a beneficent government had provided, Tuppence drew out Tommy's pencil, which she had retained wrong about Mr. Whittington. The combination of his sleek prosperity and his shifty eye was not attractive. He looked up and nodded. So you've turned up all right. That's good. Sit down, will you? Tompkins sat down on the chair facing him. She looked particularly small and demure this morning. She sat there meekly with downcast eyes whilst Mr. Whittington sorted and rustled amongst his papers. Finally, he pushed them away and leaned over the desk. Now, my dear young lady, let us come to business. His large face broadened into a smile. You want work? Well, I have work to offer you. What should you say now to £100 down and all expenses paid? Mr. Whittington leaned back in his chair and thrust his thumbs into the armholes of his waistcoat. Tompkins eyed him wearily. And the nature of the work, she demanded. Nominal, purely nominal. A pleasant trip, that is all. Where to? Mr. Whittington smiled again. Paris. Oh, said Tompkins thoughtfully. To herself, she said, of course, if father heard that he would have a fit. But somehow I don't see Mr. Whittington in the role of the gay deceiver. Yes, continued Whittington, what could be more delightful? To put the clock back a few years, a very few, I am sure, and re-enter one of those charming personnages with which Paris abounds. Tompkins interrupted him. A pennon, exactly, Madame Colombier in the Avenue de Neuilly. Tompkins knew the name well. Nothing could have been more select. She had had several American friends there. She was more than ever puzzled. You want me to go to Madame Colombier for how long? That depends. Possibly 3 months. And that is all. There are no other conditions. None whatever. You would, of course, go in the character of my ward, and you would hold no communication with your friends. I should have to request almost open-mouthed at the effect of those two simple words. All the geniality had faded out of Whittington's face. It was purple with rage, and the veins stood out on the forehead. And behind it all there lurked a sort of incredulous dismay. He leaned forward and hissed savagely. "So that's your little game, is it?" Tuppence, though utterly taken aback, nevertheless kept her head. She had not the faintest comprehension of his meaning, but she was naturally quick-witted, and felt it imperative to keep her end up, as she phrased it. Whittington went on. "Been playing with me, have you, all the time, like a cat and mouse? Knew all the time that I wanted you for, but kept up the comedy. Is that it, eh?" He was cooling down. The red color was ebbing out of his face. He eyed her keenly. "Who's been blabbing? Rita?" Tuppence shook her head. She was doubtful as to how long she could sustain this illusion, but she realized the importance of not dragging an unknown Rita into it. "No," she replied with perfect truth. "Rita knows nothing about me." His eyes still bored into her like gimlets. "How much do you know?" he shot out. "Very little indeed," answered Tuppence, and was pleased to note that Whittington's uneasiness was augmented instead of allayed. To have boasted that she knew a lot might have raised doubts in his mind. "Anyway," snarled Whittington, "you knew enough to come in here and plump out that name." "It might be my own name," Tuppence pointed out. "It's likely, isn't it? Then there would be two girls with a name like that. Or I might just have hit upon it by chance," continued Tuppence, intoxicated with the success of truthfulness. Mr. Whittington brought his fist down upon the desk with a bang. "Quit fooling. How much do you know? And how much do you want?" The last 5 words took Tuppence's fancy mightily, especially after a meager breakfast and a supper of buns the night before. Her present part was of the adventurous rather